In this video, you're going to explore at a high level how Git works and how it's going to help us track changes in our project code. So Git introduces a whole lot of new terms, theories, and concepts, and that can make it really overwhelming. You're learning about these theories and concepts as you're running the command, and it can get confusing real quick. So the goal of this video is to not give you any real-world hands-on experience or give you a comprehensive overview of Git. The goal of this one is to just ease us into some of the terminology and big picture theory. So how do our files move through Git? How does Git keep track of changes? We're going to cover the big picture stuff in this one, and in the next video, we're going to start running all of the commands that actually let us get this stuff done. So the first thing we're going to do is initialize our project with Git by creating what's called a repository. And this is just a place where Git stores our code. And if we are having the project version controlled by Git, the project would have a single repository. If I had 6 projects for work, I'd have 6 repositories on my machine. If I had none, I would have no repositories. And a repository is nothing more than a folder that sits inside of your project. So when we create this repository, it is automatically going to pick up all of the files that make up our project. Now, for now, we're just going to pretend we have a subset of those files, just 2. We're going to pretend that our project has the source app.js file and the source components header.js file, and we're going to ignore all of the other files that currently make up our project. So when we initialize a Git repository, right away, we're going to have a series of untracked files. The goal is to take these untracked files that Git does not know about and get them over here to commits. Commits are kind of like save points. So we want to be able to actually track the changes to all of those files. And to get that done, we're going to have to run a few Git commands. The first command that we're going to be using is the git add command. The git add command lets us take files from being untracked files to being staged changes. So staged changes makes up everything that is going to be in the next commit. So here I can gather up all of the files that I actually want to save, and I can save them in a commit, which would show up over here. Now, you could have all of your files in the staged changes area, or you might just take a subset of your files and move those over here for a specific commit. So when we use git add, it works a little bit like this. We use the git add command, and in this case, we're just going to say, hey, let's just add this one file, and that is going to shift it from untracked files over to staged changes. Now, staged changes still aren't being tracked by Git. This just lets you build up your next save point. So once you do have the staged changes area in place, we can actually make a commit. Then and only then are things actually going to be saved and tracked by Git. To do that, we use the git commit command. This lets us provide an English readable message, and that also generates a random unique identifier. So I run git commit, we get a brand new commit, and that commit contains all of the changes. In this case, it just contains the one new file, source app.js. Now, once we do grate that, we end up with something like this. We have a single commit in our repository. We have one untracked file. Now let's go ahead and take things a step further. Let's say we take our source app.js file and make some changes to it. This is already a file tracked by Git, so what exactly would happen? Well, it would actually show up under unstaged changes. So unstaged changes contains things that Git is tracking, but that you haven't told it to move over here. So let's say we also add another file, package.json. At this point, we have all of our changes, and now we want to make a commit. So we're going to use git add once again. This time around, though, we are going to add just 2 of the 3 files. We are going to add the changes from the source app.js file, and we're going to add package.json. Once again, we're going to intentionally avoid committing header.js. So we use git add. It takes both of those things and it shifts them over here. It removes them from their previous location, and we end up with something that looks like this. We have a single untracked file, and we have a few staged changes that are ready to go the next time we use the git commit command. So I run git commit. This wraps up everything in staged changes. It creates a new commit, and that's going to show up over here. So now we would be able to say that our repository has 2 commits. I could revert back to this one to look at the application state at that point in time, or I could revert to this one to view the current state of the application. So this is just a quick high-level overview of Git. We have untracked files, which are files that Git isn't tracking. We have unstaged changes, which are files that Git is indeed tracking, but have changed since the last time it saved it. We also have our staged changes, which is everything ready for the next commit. And finally, we have the commits, which are the various save points throughout our project. Now that we know a little bit about this terminology, we're going to go ahead and move into the next video where we actually use all of this stuff. So you're going to be running all of those commands to create new repositories. You're going to be using git add and git commit. I'm very excited to get to all of that. So let's go ahead and jump right in to the next one. I'll see you then.